Let's talk about some of the big fights that are happening over the course of the next few weeks, because it feels like there's a little bit of movement in the heavyweight division now. Anthony Joshua takes on Dillian Whyte live on talkSPORT on the 12th of August. We've got Usyk against Dubois on the 26th of August in Poland. And we'll talk a little bit later on about Francis Ngannou and the WBC champion Tyson Fury, who are going to meet in Saudi Arabia on October the 28th. I mean, let's start with AJ and Whyte. Is a match in the professional ranks and a trilogy overall, I think they're 1-1 if you sort of factor in what happened in the amateurs, the right fight for both men at this stage, and who wins?
I'd say it is, yeah. I'd say it is the right fight, because we need to see Anthony Joshua kind of up his level a little bit and look a little bit more aggressive and try and look like he means business, because he's adopted this safety-first style since losing to Ruiz a few years ago now in New York. I mean, he got Ruiz in the rematch in Saudi, outboxed him, manoeuvred him, got his titles back. Job well done, but it wasn't a job done satisfactorily enough to say he's good enough to step forward and move on to bigger and better things, which is what I said at the time, and I come under a lot of criticism for being honest. That's why I like talkSPORT so much. I'm able to speak freely and be honest. It's good. Fantastic.
Well, I'm pleased you feel that way.
So yeah, AJ, for me, put in a bit of a lacklustre safety-first performance against Ruiz. Got the win out in Saudi, and then we've seen him, his two losses, back-to-back defeats with Usyk, which is no real shame, really. It's no like slant on AJ losing to one of the best cruiserweights that's ever lived. And such a technically proficient, talented fighter, Usyk is amazing, but he's a cruiserweight. He's stepped up to heavyweight. And I just think if you're bigger and stronger and you've got more reach than somebody, use them physical attributes. And in the rematch, I think he should have had more of a go and been a bit more aggressive. But he's still fighting a little bit nervous, in my opinion. I think he's still a little bit gun shy. He's not offensive enough. He doesn't throw enough punches. He runs out of steam, doesn't he? He gets tired. We see it against Pulev. He got the win. He was tired after he went for the stoppage in round 3 or 4.
Is that because of his sheer size?
You can't really say that, because look at some of the big heavyweights years ago. You know, some of the...
So what is it? Is it because he's not preparing properly?
Maybe he's not preparing properly. He's not doing the runs, not doing the sparring. Because no matter how big you are, you can get yourself into this shape where you need to do 12 rounds. I mean, he used to do 15 rounds years ago. But Klitschko's equally as big. He's a good 12-round fighter. Vladimir and Vitali. Lennox Lewis, huge 12-round fighter. So you can't say it's because of his size, no. I mean, it doesn't help when you've got all the skeletal muscle swallowing all the oxygen. Physiologically, it's difficult. But you've got to get yourself in shape, got to get yourself fit. But this fight against Whyte is a good one, because they're both, I don't know, are they both past the best? Are they both on the slide?
They're both fighting for their careers, really, aren't they?
They are, yeah, because I feel like the loser's got nowhere to go. Maybe Whyte, if he loses, maybe he's always got a place in boxing. But he don't want to be a gatekeeper of the sport, really. He wants to go on and win world titles. But with Anthony Joshua's back-to-back defeats with Usyk, and then his lacklustre performance against Jermaine Franklin, I feel like we need to see something from him. We need to see something aggressive.
To send a message,
and he needs to be on his back foot a little bit and be against somebody who's coming to win. And Dillian Whyte will certainly do that. He'll come to win. He's got a massive pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, potentially. If he beats AJ, he might slip into this spot in Saudi where there's some ridiculous money getting thrown around. So it is a good fight for both of them at this stage of their career. They've both lost a couple of fights. We've seen Whyte lose to Povetkin. We've seen him get knocked out by Fury. Close fight with Jermaine Franklin. They both fought Franklin, didn't they, in the last fight, and they both sort of
just about got over the line.
I mean, he struggled a little bit, Whyte, and I didn't think AJ probably did a better job, but it didn't look great. He was just boxing defensive first. So this is why I want to see AJ in with somebody who's trying to beat him, and I think Whyte will come to win. But I don't just want to see him outbox and run and hide and move and keep out of the way and keep safe, because that's not going to set him up for a fight with Deontay Wilder or Tyson Fury if that happens. I want to see AJ in there with Whyte, and after round 4 or 5, start to have a go, start to press forward and throw combination punches like he used to, be aggressive and look like you mean in business, and convince people like me who have got doubts about his mindset and his what does he want out of the sport now. I mean, he has said he's fighting for money now. I don't think that's ever a good sign when someone says they're fighting for the money. I mean,
you're not the only one who's got doubts, though, because he was a bit spiky a couple of weeks ago, AJ, when he was suggesting that people on this radio station have maybe been disrespecting and overcritical. Why has he come out and reacted to that? And also, is that just an illustration that a lot of people, and it sounds like you included, are maybe frustrated that there's still unfulfilled potential there? He isn't the AJ of old.
Well, why is he being so sensitive? I mean, he's a big lad. He's a professional fighter, and somebody's got a bit of constructive criticism to put his way. He should take that, especially from somebody who's won 4 world titles and has recently been inducted into the Hall of Fame. So get that in there for a little minute. But the people that's given
We
him...
did celebrate that with you the other week.
No, we did. But what I'm saying is, it's no personal like vendetta against AJ. I mean, people have suggested that because he left Rob McCracken, which I've got my reservations about that. I think it was more of a mutual agreement, and Rob maybe not wanting to work with AJ as much as AJ not wanting to work with Rob. So there's no problem. I want AJ to succeed. I want him to do well. It's good if we have a unified, undisputed champion in Britain. We don't want Usyk to take the belts away from our country. We want to keep him here. So whether it's Fury or AJ, I don't care. Let's keep the heavyweight boxing scene alive in Britain. AJ's got to be able to take some criticism on the chin when he's underperforming.
Is this him trying to create a siege mentality, a sort of me against the world, or is it actually a reflection that his mentality isn't as strong as maybe it should be?
Exactly, showing a bit of like weakness there, and being a bit sensitive. He needs to sort of like grow up a little bit and grow up here and show. I'm hoping that his recent remarks, because he said a few things about me actually recently, but whether we're going to that or not, I'm not too fussed. I can talk about that later with Spencer Oliver. But
what would you say in retort?
I think that because he's speaking out now, and because he's having a go back at people, and he's pointing out that people on talkSPORT are a bit critical, I think that's good, because that might be in his head. He might be changing his mindset and having a go. Exactly.
I've got to get
so I'm going to show.
there.
I'm going to show these. I'm
Yeah.
going to have a go back at Froch. I'm going to have a go back at Spencer Oliver, and you know what I mean. The lads on talkSPORT. Simon Jordan has had quite a few things to say, which I agree with everything he's said, and I'm not being.
Don't tell him that.
Well, no, exactly. but he speaks the truth. He's honest, and I like that. I like the Roy Keane style from the boxing. Just be honest and give your honest, critical opinion. And if people don't like it, then that's for them to try and change. It's nothing personal. This is never personal. This is sport. You know, we come from a boxing background. Want people in boxing to do well, but AJ needs to let his fists do the talking. Don't complain about people's opinions. Don't get upset. Don't get hurt by it. Just do the business in the ring and let your success speak for you. And then just bury all of us like with a smile.
Yeah. One of the things that is letting the sport do the talking is the Usyk against Dubois match, because ultimately Dubois is a heavy underdog for this fight, but he does have power. He does have that raw power that you mentioned with AJ. If he unleashes that, there is a chance that he can knock over Alexander Usyk and steal a place in Saudi Arabia for himself. How likely is it, do you think?
It's probably unlikely in terms of odds, betting statistics, or percentages. If you want to look at stats and facts, Daniel Dubois has probably not got the experience or the confidence. Sometimes, if you're not confident, though, you can actually do something stupid and just really go for it, like I did against. Not that I wasn't confident, but me against Lucian Butte. I just thought he's a tall southpaw. He's unbeaten. I've got to go for it, yeah. I've got to go for broke. And when you're prepared to get carried out the ring on a stretcher, which you never want to happen, but when you're prepared to go there, then strange things can happen and you can really set the world alight. And Daniel Dubois is big and strong and rangy and very capable fighter. He can box, he can fight a little bit, and he's a big puncher. And if he connects with that right hand on Alexander Usyk's chin, you can't tell me that Usyk's going to be able to take that power, especially not all night. So he's got a massive chance. He's got a puncher's chance, should I say, Dubois. But realistically, Alexander Usyk is a really talented, technically proficient, just a monster division. He was undisputed unified cruiserweight, Olympic gold medalist. He's just an amazingly talented fighter, and he knows how to change his style during fights. He knows how to up the tempo. He knows how to go on his back foot and move to his left or to his right, depending on what's coming at him. I can't see him walking onto what would probably have to be a sucker punch from Dubois and getting beat. But it's heavyweight boxing. It's a two-horse race. Anything can happen, and this fight is probably more exciting, well, definitely more exciting than watching Fury and Garner, who's making his debut.
But we'll talk about that in just a few moments. As Carl's already mentioned, he's going to be recording an episode of Talk Boxing with Spencer Oliver after he's done with us today. Make sure you check it out on the talkSPORT Boxing YouTube channel.